Okay, we'll go ahead and get started. Want to say hello to all our friends out there in the media. I also know this is being streamed live. It's game week. I can tell you the Cowboys are really excited about playing Montana State. Montana State's an excellent football program. They've got an excellent head football coach, and we're looking forward to our competition at War Memorial Stadium. We're going to have full stands, and so it's an exciting time. Where our football team is at currently, we're very healthy. We've had an aggressive fall camp. We've had more contact as far as scrimmages than what I can remember for quite some time, but we've been able to go through it unscathed. We're healthy. We've got a lot of depth and great competition within our football team. But I think a lot of teams have a lot of depth. The NCAA granted an extra year for all the programs in Division I, and so we're probably not unique from that standpoint. However, I think we're probably deeper than and more experienced than maybe most people. So if you looked at the strengths and weaknesses, one of the strengths that I would say we have is our offensive line. An awful lot of players who have played a lot of football who are on the back end of their careers. We, again, I've got some fifth-year guys and older men, and they played together a lot. Sean Chambers has had an excellent fall camp, along with Levi Williams. We think we've got some guys on the outside that can stretch the field, certainly some tight ends and full stable of running backs, and it's probably been the first time I can remember. I think our fullback position is really deep there. Over on the defensive side of the football, all our front guys have played a lot of football there, and Chad Muma, of course, is anchoring down that defense, and he's an experienced player. Easton Gibbs is a guy who really came on at the end of last season, had a good spring ball, and then has had an excellent fall camp as well. We've got two returning corners who played a lot of football, and we've got a lot of depth at the safety position, and we're going to utilize that as well. You know, in the kicking game, John Hoyland had an excellent year last year. It was somewhat unique, and he emerged, and I think he's a preseason Lou Groza guy, and so, he certainly has got a lot of experience, and so we'll utilize him as well. In reference to Montana State, as I mentioned before, they were a team that did not play this last year, and that's probably helped them with the new coaching staff. But, they have a quarterback, Matt McKay, who, transferred from North Carolina State. We've done quite a bit of research on him. I know that he's really an athletic guy. He's got a strong arm. And then also Troy Anderson is a preseason All-American middle linebacker, was initially came to Montana State as a quarterback and now as a middle linebacker, possesses great ability. And I applaud a guy like that for sticking with his school, and I'm sure he had all kinds of other opportunities. But they've got good players, and they have great tradition. It's been quite a while since the Cowboys have played the Bobcats. You get up in the northern part of our state, I know that there's a lot of crossovers. So we're certainly excited about this football game. We're excited that we're going to have fans in the stand. I'm sorry we're not able to do this in person, but, it's a lot safer outside. So at this time, I'll open it up to any questions anybody may have. I think, Cody, you're the first guy up.
Craig, welcome to the 2021 season, first of all. What did Sean Chambers show or prove to you this offseason that made him your guy?
You know what? I think he really worked on his fundamentals during the course of this last year. And he cleaned up some things fundamentally. What a lot of times we don't realize is he didn't have an opportunity to practice a whole lot. He missed a whole year there, missed a spring, and then last year played 3 plays, had an abbreviated fall camp. And so coming back and going through spring practice and then over the course of the summer, I thought both he and Levi made great strides, and so they're just a year older and understanding how to play quarterback more, and we'll leverage that. Both those guys we feel really comfortable. I don't think we'll alternate guys. You may see Levi in the game some, but right now we've declared Sean as our starter, and I think he's had a good fall camp, but I do not want to minimize Levi's progression. He's really improved as well. I think, Tracy, you had a question?
Well, the first one is, Any special thoughts about facing Vegan from the opposite sideline? You used to talking to him back and forth during the game.
Well, I don't think we'll be doing a whole lot of talking. They haven't got the headset set up like that, but there's lots of storylines about this. A lot of their coaches, we know, they know us. Their defensive coordinator had played for me for many years ago. Freddie Banks done a great job, and there's just tons of storylines. But I can tell you this: both Brent and I enjoy a great relationship that goes back many years. But when the game gets going here, it's going to be about the players, and I'm sure Brent would echo the same thing, that, we're going to be – it's professional. He's leading a great program. We feel like we've got an entrenched program, and so, some of the storylines, some of the projections on how they may look at defending something or what we may look at doing offensively, and I'm sure they're doing the same exact thing. Brent and Tim Polasek worked together for many years. And so not a lot of bobbing and weaving, but certainly maybe some gamemanship from that standpoint. Another question, Tracy?
Yeah, I was just wondering, have you ever had a player going into his 7th year of football playing for you?
No.
How much of a surprise is it to see a guy like that say, hey, I want to stay and play another year?
I think it's an indication. Maybe I mentioned this earlier, that ESPN rated us as the #1 program in the country as far as stability. Out of 130, I think Clemson was number 2, and there was some formula that they had. Trey's an example of that. I think he's real close to getting his master's degree. The only thing I can say is many years ago I coached a safety who played in the minor leagues baseball for many years, and he came out and played. But it's been great having Trey out there. His maturity, his ability, and all those things have added a great deal of stability and focus to our football team.
I guess the other thing to look at him with is, he knows who the starting running back is, right? He spent 2 years watching that guy.
Right.
So he understands his role pretty well.
That's I don't want to say it's unique, but anymore, what we've really tried to emphasize, the team, and that many times has gone by the wayside, and that's an easy thing to say and tough to do. When you're the starter, everything is all great, but all of a sudden you're not the starter. How do you respond? And whether you're focused on contributing to the team and thinking other people more important than yourself, that kind of goes counterculture with what's going on. But that's what we need to leverage at the University of Wyoming, and I think nobody embodies that better than Trey.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay, I don't have some names up here. Go ahead.
Hey, Coach, Josh Criswell.
Okay, thanks, Josh.
The backup linebackers, Shea and Connor, I saw they were listed on the depth chart. What are your thoughts on how they've progressed throughout?
They played well. We run a complicated defense, and it's a pro-style defense, and so sometimes it takes a while to pick up some of the nuances within our defense, but they've done a good job. How much they play will be kind of contingent upon how the game goes along. We feel like we've got 2 really excellent veteran players, so I don't think you'll see splitting reps a lot, but we're well pleased with their progress.
And new offense this year with Tim Polasek. What are your thoughts just on how the guys have kind of grasped the new system and how they've executed down the stretch of camp?
Well, every time you have a chance, you have change, you have an opportunity to grow, and so it's been different. I think our guys have really, embraced Coach Polasek. Losing a guy like Coach Vegan and happy to have him become a head coach, but an opportunity for Tim to maybe put his, handprints on or fingerprints on this offense is really important. There are some differences, but it's not going to look drastically different, from the vantage point from the stands. But our players have really, I think, bought into what we're doing offensively, and it's going to be important that we execute and play really fast Saturday. Cody?
Greg, we talked about this a lot during the offseason, but I see Titus Wins at the top of the depth chart at kickoff. What do you like about him in that area, and what do you think about Cam Stone also backing him up?
Well, we've done more kickoff work than I can ever remember, and sometimes you get a little bit concerned about that, but Titus showed some great ability to find a crease, secure the football. He's got explosion. Cam Stone also did a great job breaking some tackles, and so that was part of our thought process there, to have two guys back who have the ability to go the distance, and then also make sure they have great ball security. Cody?
Also, Cody Anderson, you touched on him a little bit. What a career that guy's had, being, an all-conference quarterback, all-conference running back, all-conference linebacker.
Right.
Are you happy to just see him in one position this weekend?
Well, I think it's smart on Coach Vigen's part. Anytime you have somebody that's that athletic, he does so many things for them, and we'll have our hands full. We'll need to make sure that we have him accounted for on the offensive side of the football. We always have to have somebody blocking him. Ryan, I think you're up there. I can't see your picture, but your name popped up. Ryan? Ryan.
Hey, Craig, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I don't see you, but I hear. Oh, now there you are. Okay.
Welcome back to Zoom.
I know it. This is where we're at. Hopefully, we're going to make some progress, but appreciate you guys being on today.
Sorry if I missed it, but can you just touch on Sean Chambers and just his resiliency and winning the job again, and what you're kind of expecting from him this year?
Both the quarterbacks made great progress during the course of spring, and then they really made some significant progress during the summer, which was on their own, which shows the buy-in that they have. Sean, I think, is learning how to play quarterback more. There's a lot of things that we do in our system that's a pro-style system that through the years, as a program or as a quarterback matures, we're able to put more on their plate. His accuracy has improved significantly. We chart that all the time. His leadership, but I do not want to minimize Levi. I thought Levi really did some great things and grew as well. So we're comfortable with where we're at. It'll be fun to see Sean get out there. You can try to replicate everything you want in scrimmages and practice until the lights come on. He's always had the ability to make plays with his legs. But what we're finding is for him to be able to be in a pocket and see the field a little bit more, go through his progression. He still has the ability to run and make plays on the move, but he's been much more accomplished as far as being what I would consider a quarterback in a pro-style system. Okay.
Chris Sylvester has a question.
Okay, Chris, go ahead.
Hey, Coach. Thanks for your time today. I'll be calling the game on the Mountain West Network this weekend with Jared Petrino.
Okay.
The receiver position, I want to get your thoughts on maybe some guys that haven't had too much experience in terms of catches at this level. But I see a lot of guys in the depth chart, a lot of redshirt freshmen, a lot of those kids you recruited out of Texas. Obviously, Eberhardt has a lot of experience, had 12 catches last year. But who are some guys to look out for in the passing game? And you mentioned that fullback position being pretty deep. How do you plan to use those guys?
Well, you know what? We're going to have a lot of different formations, and some of it's just going to come up to how the game begins to unfold. We certainly feel like we have more weapons on the outside than what we've had. I think a lot of people are that way since you have a lot of these guys back. But the ball will be placed a lot of different ways. Isaiah Nair is a guy that has tremendous speed and can stretch the field. Josh Cobb's another guy that's done some things well. Our tight ends, Trayton Welsh is a guy that can stretch the field vertically. You see Parker and Caleb both at the fullback position. So a lot of different players that are going to play. Some of it's going to come down to how we see some matchups once the game begins to unfold because, as I said, we're trying to project what they're going to do. They're trying to project what we're going to do. About somewhere in the middle of the first quarter, we'll have a pretty good idea what their game plan is, and they'll have a pretty good idea what we'll do it, and that'll have an impact on how we deploy these players. Other questions that are out there?
Ryan has a question.
Ryan, go ahead.
Greg, I know you guys are itching to play after last year, but Montana State hasn't played since the 19 season, and they were in the semis, the last time they played. You have a lot of guys coming back. What are you kind of expecting? I know, obviously, Vigen's a new coach there, but they have a lot of guys back, new quarterback. Just what's your scouting report on these guys?
Well, here's my sense is Montana State has always been a physical program through the years when I've had an opportunity to coach them, no matter who's been the head coach there. They have a great deal of pride in their program, being from Bozeman. There's kind of a hardy, tough mentality. Coach Vegan certainly is going to, I guess, embody that. I mean, he's always been a guy that's really believed in having a physical football team. They will play hard, and that's just not coach speak. The things that we've seen and we know about them, you don't get in the semis without being a deep football team. And so we're anticipating a very, very competitive game. And I know our guys are going to be, very competitive and be physical as well. So it's going to be kind of a matchup of two programs that have a long, storied history. And we're certainly excited about playing the Bobcats. Cody?
Greg, you coach the place kickers, obviously. I think people might have been a little shocked to hear that was as close of a race as it was, close of a battle as it was this offseason. Can you talk a little bit about that and what John over the top?
Well, it's hard to replicate game experience. Luke has done some good things. We chart a lot of things in practice. We've had live work. There's some real comfort in the fact that you have two guys that you feel really capable of doing it. But for John to have accomplished what he did last year, that's certainly, and I had a real candid conversation with Luke. I mean, Luke's done some good things. But when a guy has done that repetitively in a game situation, that's hard to replicate. And so there's been great competition. That brings out the best in guys as they go out and they challenge one another each day in practice, and we chart everything. But we're really pleased that we have two capable kickers, and really pleased that John has excelled in games, and so that's what gave him the edge and the nod.
Greg, I know it's always exciting to play opening day, no matter who it is and all that, but does this carry some extra weight because of Brent and because of what you guys went through last year?
I would not say so much because of Brent, because Brent's, he's in charge of a football program. It's going to be about the players, but I can tell you that last year was a really, really challenging year. I applaud our players. We were prepared to play every week. We never got called off, but it was a tough year. And I think when you go through something like that, it makes you really appreciate some of the things that we're able to do now that we were not able to do. Certainly COVID is still out there, but we followed the protocols. Our guys are hungry. I think more than anything else, there's nothing better that I know than being in a sun-drenched stadium on a Saturday afternoon on opening game. We're expecting a lot of people here. It's going to be a stripe-out game. That's all part of the pageantry. Last year we were piping in noise, and it was such a unique deal. I mean, heck, I couldn't even talk to the players during the pregame meal. And so there's all kinds of things that we were not able to do that we're going to be able to do this year. And, you look at your football team, Cody, and you go through it and you think you got a pretty good idea. But I've always found that until you're getting about in the middle of the first quarter, the second quarter, you really don't know what kind of team you have. And once that starts to happen, then you go, okay, this is the type of team you have. So I'm going to be excited to see these players play. Tracy.
Did Hicks catch you by surprise with his decision?
You know what? You missed the deal. Tracy, you probably know me as well as you do. I can appreciate the question, but I don't comment on guys who've left the program.
Okay, thank you.
Your request, don't ever go down that road again, Tracy. All right.
We'll try, but my memory's not real good.
Okay. Ryan, I think you're up.
We've talked obviously a lot about Chambers and Levi trying to come back from last year in a tone, but Ravante Holt's a guy who's been through a lot of tough injuries. The fact that he's in the starting lineup, is that a pretty good sign that he's getting close to what you hope he can be?
You know what? Ravante has gone through a tremendous amount of injuries. 2 ACL tears on one knee and another one on the other, and we've watched his repetition early in fall camp. Felt like he was a little bit behind, but as we were able to increase his repetition, he's running well. He's overcome a lot of adversity. It's great to have him in the trenches. When you look at our defense, Ryan, our defense, we're a 4-3 defense. It sounds a little bit technical, but our 3 technique, if we're good at 3 technique, we got a shot to be pretty good. And we feel like Ravante is an excellent 3 technique, and is going to be able to push the pocket. We applaud his resiliency and can-do attitude. He's done well in school. It's great to see him out there, and I'm going to be excited to see him play against Montana State. Ryan, another question?
With McKay coming from North Carolina State, do you know a lot about him? Did you have to watch, some Wolfpack stuff?
Yeah.
How would you compare for them? They have, 2 capable quarterbacks like you do.
We certainly culled through all that tape. It's been a long time ago, how much he's played. I do know that he's got a strong delivery. He's smart. He's athletic. What they do schematically is going to be really challenging. And so, he's a big guy in stature. I believe he stands about 6'4". He can move around. He's got a strong arm, and he's a well-seasoned quarterback. So a lot for us to tackle on defense. I know Coach Sawvell and the defensive staff has gone through all the different elements of our game plan. I think it's really important for us to be able to play fast, not give up big plays, and we're certainly going to be challenged by him. Okay, guys, is that it? Any other questions from anybody? Well, hopefully pretty soon we can come back in person, but I think this is the best approach. Hopefully you guys are going to be able to get your information. We look forward to having you cover the game this Saturday at 2 o'clock. Go Pokes.